Sure. Now the recording started. Yeah, as I said, so we have been recording the sessions and uploading in our YouTube channel. So you can go to our YouTube channel, PMIPCC chapter, PMIPCC, where you can find the playlist. So under playlist PMI Agile series. Okay. So this, as of now, we have 3 recording sessions, and today's one also will be recorded and it will be uploaded. All right. So today's topic is scaling of agile, safe and less. Mr. Leela Satish, he is our very own chapter member. He is an agile coach, enterprise agility world community ambassador as well. So a little bit about Satish. He has over 16 plus years of IT experience, around 6 years of implementing Scrum, Kanban, Scrum Ban, XP practices, experienced in enterprise level agile transformations, and he coordinated a couple of portfolios and clients for agile transformation. And he is trained around 600 plus on various safe certification, and he is predominantly part of or founder of this SS Agile Gurus group and on the YouTube and WhatsApp and the various other community forums also. And he has got is a safe program consultant certified and CSM, PSM and PMP, and also ICP, CAT and ENT from ICP Agile. Thanks, Satish, for taking out time on Saturday morning and giving value to our members and helping them to understand your perspectives and your knowledge and your information on the scaling of Agile. I'll pass it on to you now. I'll stop sharing. You can go ahead and share your screen. Yeah.
Thanks, Vinay. Thanks, PMI chapter, for giving me this opportunity. Let me start sharing my screen. Hi, everyone. Good morning. Again, thanks for taking your time on a Saturday morning to discuss or to go through this. So, along with what Vinay mentioned, I just came up with one small transformation path, how I started my career. And if any of you might have looked at the Scale Agile implementation plan, I just tried to replicate to showcase how I started my career and how I went ahead into the implementation of where I am currently, just to give a glimpse of the thing. Okay, so what is this? The moment we look at this picture, what is it? The first thought we are getting? Anyone?
You can type in the chat, team. The way you read.
The way you read. Mm-hmm. Okay.
Vertical or horizontal?
Yes, exactly. Continuity. Mm-hmm. Yes. Vertical. Okay. Okay. Yes, we'll come there. Yes. The next picture. What's happening here? Especially all of us know when the COVID lockdown came, the whole travel got stopped. All the airlines started sharing that. We started taking all the precautions for having a safe flight. Till the boarding is fine, but what happened once we board? The airlines even started giving the food and drinks, everything on the flight. So obviously, all of us might be removing the mask. So where is the safety or the security which they promised? Yes, another picture. Okay. Then what is it? The fifth tire in the red circle. Spare not appropriate. Yes, yes. Right. So this is what is happening in half of the agile implementations. There is no coordination, there is no collaboration, there is no continuity or connection between the teams within the organization. Everyone belongs to same team. Everyone belongs to might not be the same team, but everyone belongs to same organization. Everyone working on same product or same solution, giving the value to the customer and user. But there is no connectivity. There is no collaboration. There is no coordination. That's where we are talking about the scaling frameworks, especially from the agile implementation. What's the intention of this scaling framework? This team level, Scrum, Kanban, XP, Crystal, everything looks good. Everything is working fine. But when the teams has to coordinate, when multiple teams start working among themselves, that's where the scaling framework starts coming up into context. So what the scale agile framework, what they did is they took the agile manifesto as a base and they came up with the house of lean. We won't go in detail. Maybe we can have a separate session once we complete all the topics. But what is that they try to showcase the house of lean is the agile manifesto is saying individuals and interactions over process and tools. That's what the scale agile is mentioning, respect for people and culture. Not just the individuals, but we need to respect the culture as well. The working software over comprehensive documentation, they're saying if we want to get the working software done, we need to focus on flow, identify the delays, gaps, and get it done. Then the customer collaboration over contract negotiation, innovation, how we are bringing that innovation, different thought process, thinking out of box and getting effective solutions to the customer. That's where the innovation is coming into picture. And the responding to change or following a plan, the relentless, continuous, ongoing improvement. That is what the Scale Agile team represented in the framework by taking the Agile manifesto or the Agile values, Agile principles as a baseline. So for all these things, that is fine, but the leadership is the foundation, leadership is the base. So all of us, irrespective of the role, whether we are playing project manager, program manager, portfolio manager, or any role, the leader, all of us are indirectly or directly called as a leaders when we are driving the transformation, supporting the implementation across the organization perspective. So everything, if we have to build this house of lean and if we have to deliver value to the customer, to the end user, everything lies upon the leadership. We know how by having a strong leader in an organization which is about to get bankrupt might be becoming a multi-million company versus how with a leader sitting in wrong context might go alternately and take a U-turn and go back into the history as well. There are various examples of companies what happened when the leadership is strong versus not taking a proper stance. So that's what the Scale Agile team is trying to do or showcase as part of this House of Lean. Then coming into this business agility. So what is this business agility is doing is, again, this is from the Scale Agile. So all the pictures references are taken from the internet and the Scale Agile framework. So, so what is that the business agility, the Scale Agile perspective is doing is, at the team level, the software applications is where we are focusing on the agile of the team level, Scrum, Kanban, XP, and everything. But just bringing the development teams or the IT teams is not sufficient. We need to bring on the finance team, the people who coordinate all the teams, the operations team, legal team, marketing team. Only when everyone come together, collaborate together, work together, dedicatedly, focusedly, and having a proper coordination, communication, that's when an enterprise, everything is representing the enterprise. An enterprise can achieve success in delivering an effective value or solution to the customers. Again, another picture. What is this picture? What is the first thought the moment you look at this picture coming?
Great picture.
I three muffins. Okay, three
Okay.
muffins. Coffee mugs.
Yes.
iPhone back camera. Yes, yes, yes. Uh, Zomato released this ad of 3 copies for less than 199. Okay, so what is the relevance of it? Why Zomato did this is the moment Apple released a new iPhone with 3 cameras in the back, within the next 6 hours, Zomato released this ad to all the customers in India. We know Apple do their roadshow or their release of their iPhones, iPads, Apple Watches, everything during the US time, which will be like night for us in India. So within the next 6 hours, Zomato team or Zomato as an organization released this ad. What does happen within the next 6 hours? From the time Apple released their iPhone till the time Zomato released this ad is, it's not just designing the ad and coming up. We need to make sure the IT team or the software team, development team, Scrum team, whatever the terminology we use, we call, they need to implement this new offer. They need to push it to the production into the app which we are using as a customer and user, and they need to make sure that is working fine. Existing offers, existing app should be working fine. Plus, the new offer which they are giving to the customer is also working fine. That's not the only thing. Finance team also will get involved here. They need to do the logistics calculations. Okay, how many orders we might get? 3 coffee for less than 199. Maybe all of us might be placing 10 orders, 50 orders, 20 orders. You never know. I mean, Zomato team don't know. So they want to come up with the logic. Okay, how many orders we is it unlimited orders per customer, 1 order per customer, or first 1,000 orders, first 100, everything. All that discussion happened within that 6 hours of time frame, and they got it released to the market. And the legal team, complaints team, what if Apple files a case against Zomato for using their copyrighted images? Even that is also to be considered. So what is that we are trying to discuss here? Not only just the IT teams or the software development teams, everyone else across the organization came together and had that conversation and worked together. That's when we were able to release it to the customer in the shortest possible time. That's what the scale agile representation is. Another picture from Zomato. So here they tactically release this WhatsApp chat to showcase how their teams came together. This is for the 13th birthday of Zomato a couple of years ago. So what happened is they could have just released another marketing campaign like this, a simple campaign. Instead, what they did is like they released a picture showcasing their chat conversation. Of course, that might not be the actual thing, but intentionally they released it. See what happened. CEO started the conversation in 5:10. Marketing team, growth team, finance team, HR team. By 5:25, which means by 5:10 they started this conversation, and by 5:25 or even by 5:24, within the 14 minutes, they intentionally showcasing that we came to a common agreement. All the teams representatives are involved, and we came to a common agreement, and this is what we are giving the deal or the offer. Isn't it the business agility we talked a couple of slides ago? Finance team, legal team, marketing team, operations team. That's what the different representations are we can take from our day-to-day perspective itself and consider how by bringing multiple teams across the organization we can achieve the true business agility. And again, why are we doing it? To give the value to the customers in the shortest possible time with the proper quality. So that's why Scale Agile as one of the framework is representing or is showcasing how organizations can showcase or how organizations can get the benefit of this implementation by bringing multiple teams across the organization together and make them work together. So this is a simple essential configuration. Any organization, when they want to start with the Scale Agile implementation, they will be starting with this essential configuration where multiple agile teams, it's not just the agile teams, there will be some additional roles, the product management program. The same way, if I have to discuss about less, the large scale Scrum, they also do a similar implementation or similar representation. So what they do is they split the sprint planning, might not be at the program level, but they split the sprint planning into two parts. The sprint planning part one, where the team, either the whole team or the representatives of the team will be coming into a discussion with the product owner, and the product owner and the representatives will be discussing and finalizing the product backlog of what is that the scope that respective team can take or can plan for the upcoming sprint. And then these representatives will go back and have conversation with that respective teams in the part two of the sprint planning, and each team they will come up with their own respective sprint backlog and they will start with the implementation. So a small change between the Scale Agile versus the large scale Scrum is Scale Agile, they're expecting or they're recommending, suggesting to bring in even the team members into the discussion for a 5 to 6 sprints together as a common discussion. Whereas the large scale Scrum, they're recommending or suggesting let either the team or the representatives come together for the product along with the product owner and do the common discussion, and that's when the teams can go back and come up with their own sprint goal and give that commitment to the sprint backlog. So whatever the context of all the frameworks, even at the scaling level, they're trying to mention the same. Have a common conversation across the teams, discuss, identify the risk dependencies, the coordination required among the teams, and go ahead into the actual planning and the implementation. Any questions till now before we go ahead with the large solution?
Sorry, I was talking on mute. You can type in the chat, team. PA planning. Yeah, go ahead.
PI planning, typically the recommendation is to do a PI planning. They mention on the picture it's a standard agenda or a recommendation. During the COVID, we are doing a half-day PI plannings, considering the distributed geographically spread across the teams and stakeholders. But even before the COVID, our teams used to be spread across 5, 6 different time zones or locations. It's not literally possible or feasible for everyone to come into common location. So we used to do 3 half days or 4 half days PA planning. It is up to us. We can take it as a recommendation and we can split or we can bring that PA planning into 3 half days or 4 half days as per our context. So on the Scale Agile framework, the team gave a article stating that distributed PI planning. So what if multiple teams are spread across different locations? I mean, different geographies or the different time zones. That's when we can take that as a recommendation of distributed PI planning, and we can go ahead into it. Thanks, Rudra, for the question. Okay, so to move on, the next configuration is called as a large solution. Again, Naveen, why so many scaled frameworks? Each has its own context, its own vision or the perspective. we need to figure out what works for us and what could be suitable, what could be relevant, and from the implementation perspective, right? So the way how we have Scrum versus Kanban or versus XP, or sometimes the teams are using Scrum and Kanban together as well to get the benefit out of it. So like the same way, teams are using the organizations, enterprise are using Scale Agile or large scale Scrum or Nexus or Spotify. And for one of the client where I work, they have half of their enterprise implement Scale Agile, half of them implement large scale Scrum. It is up to the organization context, what's the relevance, what's the importance, or how they want to get the benefit out of it. Accordingly, they can pick and choose it. Different scale agile frameworks differences right now I haven't captured in this today's session, but I will try to share. There are different articles. I want to consolidate everything into one single slide. Maybe I will share it with Vinay. Vinay can share with all of us. So
Sure,
maybe I can do it in some time. Right now I don't have it handy, but yes, there are lots of material. I will try to consolidate and share it across.
sure. Yeah,
Thanks, Kiran. So the next configuration within the scaled agile is the large solution. What is the large solution? What's the difference between essential and the large solution? Essential is a simple basic configuration. Only this small part, the bottom part of the framework will be coming up. Any organization, when they start with the implementation, they will be starting with the essential. There's a case study on the Scale Agile website where a small startup of 100 employees, they started making use of this essential configuration and they showcase that as a success story. So if it is a small startup focused on just a simple solution which they want to come up with, maybe example Zomato. I'm not saying Zomato is using Scale Agile, but I'm giving just a small example. If in case Zomato as an organization wants to make use of this, one of the scaling frameworks, they can say they need everything within the essential configuration, they can go ahead and get it done. Then, what is a large solution? The name itself is saying it is a large solution. So, if we have to take our local context, the Hyderabad Metro, right? So, we know that how the Hyderabad Metro took multiple years to get into the actual implementation and get it available to the common people like all of us, right? So if we look at it, the corridors, they came up with corridor 1, 2, and 3. So we know what happened with the corridor 2. It is initially planned from CBS to Falaknuma, but no, it is only till MGBS. In the corridor 3, the initial plan is to end the corridor 3 in front of the Shilparamam, just next to the cyber towers. But then what happened? It got diverted towards Cyber Gateway, and now the final station is at the.
did we lost Satish? Oh yeah, I think. Okay, let me call him. Give me a second, team. I'm just trying to reach him on phone. Yeah, maybe power cut. We will wait for a couple of minutes.
Hello?
Hi Satish, yes, you are back.
Okay. There's a power fluctuation and internet got stopped. Sorry for that.
Yeah.
Okay. So the Hyderabad Metro got a lot of changes from the planning stage to the implementation stage. And again, that route 2, it is only till MGBS, it is not yet implemented. Right. So that's what the large solution comes into context. During the planning phase, we might not be clear, or we might be having a limited idea of what the actual solution might look like. So if you look at it, the fixed scope is very minimal and the variable scope is more, or the unknown factor is more. As we go quarter on quarter or PI to PI, that's where the unknown factors will be reduced and the known factors will be keep on increasing. So that's what the intention of this representation, and that is where the large solution will be coming into context from the organization implementation perspective. And to give a small example, Boeing is one of the uh, large scale solution implementation from the scale agile perspective. And as you can see in the picture, each part and each software of the Boeing aircraft is being handled by different organizations across the world. That is what this is. So when we say large solution, it's not just a simple solution or simple IT project which we can get it done. The main intention is all the lot of coordination required with the third party vendors who might be outside our organization, who might not be within our organization. So when we know if they are within our organization, we might follow the process, the guidelines, or the frameworks or tools or anything as such. But when the vendor is outside the organization, they might not even be aware of Agile, forget about the scaling. So then we might have to focus or we might have to talk to them on the timelines or the deadlines, the typical project management terminologies. So that's where our role will be coming up into context as a project managers or the program managers to see how we coordinate with these third party vendors or suppliers who are outside the organization or who are still helping us from the implementation, but they're not on roles or they're not our employees, our associates. So that's what the context of the large solution, which means from the initiation phase of the project till the final completion phase, it might be taking multiple years, and we might need help and involvement of multiple third-party vendors, suppliers, and a lot of additional support coordination is required from the overall implementation perspective. Then the third phase or the third stage is the portfolio configuration. Again, from the scale agile perspective. So what is this? The portfolio configuration is within an organization, we have multiple solutions or multiple uh, streams or multiple entities. So that's where the coordination across these streams, coordination across these solutions is required, is to be implemented or is to be brought into consideration. And from the PMI perspective, if you have to consider the portfolio managers, PFMP, portfolio management is where they come here in this portfolio context of the scaling implementation. What is this picture? Especially people from Vizag or Visakhapatnam, they know the context of it. Anytime a South Central Railway or Secunderabad, they announce special trains, majority of the times it will be only till Anakapalli, not till the Visakhapatnam or Vizag. The reason Vizag is coming under East Coastal Railway, whereas the other parts is coming in the South Central. The coordination between two different zones is where a lot of times people especially know that if, in case you are from that area, a lot of times the trains, the special trains especially will be launched only till there because South Central Railway, it is their control. They can do that until Anakapalli and they can get it done. But the next part, it might just take 1 hour to stretch or continue until that last stage of the Visakhapatnam. So that's why the coordination across the different portfolios or the coordination across the different entities exactly because it is a different railway zone, the revenue, everything will be going into that, not under the South Central Railway. So that's where the challenges comes into context, especially when the cross portfolio coordinations or the budgets, revenue sharing, the profits, margins, lot of aspects will come into context. That's what the representation of the portfolio configuration from the scale agile perspective is at the enterprise. So the Indian Railways is one single entity as an enterprise, along with the government, or sometimes even the government institutes are also making use of it. So if in case we take Indian Railways is still a government entity where they come up with a common vision, common roadmap across the country from the Indian Railways implementation perspective, and within which each railway zone come up with their own budgets. There might be a budget allocation for the whole Indian Railways as such, but again, that budget will be split across each railway zone, and that's where the coordination and the collaboration is the key aspect between or across these railway zones. So what's happening is, uh, if in case we are working in that portfolio level, we need to, the organization need to come up with the portfolio canvas. I will show a filled in portfolio canvas in the next slide. So if in case any of us want to make use, we can download from the Scale Agile website directly. So what is the portfolio canvas? Let's suppose Zoom, they came up with a business, the model canvas is what is this brand, what is the statement, and what is the Zoom is about, and who are the key partners, what is the channels they are planning to implement or they are providing their solution, what's the value they are giving it to the customers, what is the key resources, the revenue streams, and the cost structure, what's the input, the income versus what's the expenses from that implementation perspective, the customer segmentation, the relationships and the key activities, what all the things required at the portfolio. So this is not at the program or project or a program level. This we are talking about the portfolio context at the enterprise, at the organization perspective. The same way OYO came up with their own business model canvas. So the budgeting part, when we come to the budget, this is where the actual conversation happens within the organization. What is that we want to plan for? How we want to align our budgets? How we want to uh, allocate our budgets? Which ideas, which projects, or which new solutions, which new implementations we want to go ahead, or which of it we want to stop? Yes. So some of it will go into horizon 0 when it's a decommissioning. Now, Microsoft announced that Internet Explorer, the support is stopped, or Windows XP. We don't even use the Windows XP anymore. So at some point of time, the working solutions might be or will be need to be decommissioned when they are not giving the expected profits or expected revenue out of it. Horizon 1 is where all of us, the current investing solution versus the extracting solution, this is where the actual focus is. Then the horizon to the emerging market. So as a project managers, program managers, we know the next solutions. Okay, now we are getting budgets or the revenues, profits out of these solutions. What's next? What is our competitors doing? What is our customers are expecting? which solutions we want to start with implementation. So we all know we are in the end of the year. So many companies might be doing their financial budgeting towards January to December, or typical Indian context April to March. So by now, many companies, many of us might be involved in this budgeting part for the next upcoming financial year from our organization. So that is where the organizations will be looking, okay, what's going on currently, what's the next projects, ideas, solutions in our pipeline, is what the horizon 2. And then horizon 3 is like, what's the evaluating market, the emerging market, the upcoming trends, maybe in the couple of years we might want to start implementing. This is where our role as a program or portfolio managers will come into context from the implementation perspective. And the key important aspect of all of this is release on demand. We are working on the implement till now. We will discuss about the budgets, strategy, vision, the implementation aspect. Once it is released to the ready for the release or the deployment, we cannot force the customers, the end users, to take it just like that. Because we completed something, they might not want to. We need to focus on that aspect as well. So that's where this picture's representation on this slide showing that what the Microsoft, what they did in allowing the customers. I'm a user of a customer, a user of Microsoft Office or the Windows. Every time, whenever I'm doing a session, the software updates used to happen, Windows updates, and the laptop used to get restarted. So that's when many of us might have raised a concern. This cup is a coffee cup which is prepared and placed by one of the Microsoft employee. They also got frustrated with the way they are doing the thing. So they printed it and kept it across the cafeterias of the Microsoft sharing array. Let us work on the completion of the implementation. Then you let us do when we want to install the software, so the updates, patches. The same way, every other app, they are asking, you want to install it now or you want to take it later? Let the customers, let the end users make use of it, or let them take a call when they want to use the solution which we implemented. Right? So along with the implementation, during the process, through the process, we need to focus on what's our strategy for the release planning, the release timelines, and when, by when, or how we want to let the customers make use of our solution is what we need to discuss. We need to come up with that as well. And within the Scale Agile framework, there are a lot of customer stories across the different industries. Again, the scaling implementation is not just for IT or any typical software companies. Across the companies, across the industries, domain sectors, there are different companies, industries, and domains. They are making use of this implementation. And the less, the similar way, they have a common product owner with the implementation of sprint 1, sprint 2, planning, and everything. The teams will come together, or the teams might be independent teams. They might be working on the coordination as required, and the planning might be doing common. The review retrospective and overall common retrospective might be having common, but within the implementation, the teams will be working among themselves and they will be coordinating as required. And towards the end of the implementation, the teams will come up with their potential shippable product increment. So that's what the representation of both the scale agile or the less large scale scrum or any scaling frameworks as such. End result should be still a potential shippable valuable increment. Throughout the process, how we coordinate, how we collaborate, how we get the work done is what the intention of these overall scaling frameworks coming into context. Yes. So that's the points from my side. Any questions? Anything you want to discuss?
Yeah, team, please text your questions in the chat box so that we can take it up. We have good amount of time. And we have covered, say, a scaled agile framework and less. So probably we will come up with the separate session on discipline agile as well. Another scaling or other framework, it's a toolkit. Okay, we
Okay.
will come up with the next speaker. Please type in your questions there, team. Satish will take up. I think Manish is having one question. Okay, they were talking about the Vizag railway and Southern
Yeah.
railway. It's what? Okay, yeah. And then in the
So,
port, yeah, go ahead.
sure, Naveen. Comparison across scale agile frameworks. I will share the material with Vinay. Right now, like we have a lot of material on the internet itself, but we don't want to just use it as is. But instead, we want to bring in from our own context perspective. We will prepare something and we will share with Vinay. Or maybe if required, we can have a next session once
Yeah,
we complete all the other topics as well.
sure. Yeah, it could be a potentially new topic because I think we have good amount of stuff on the internet. We need to accumulate and collect it and present it. Yeah, and before that we will try to share the links as well. Yeah.
Mhm. Manish, practical session for each framework. I'm not sure, or I don't have hands-on on the actual less implementation or anything. But we can. I typically do the PA planning simulations, like 3 to 4 hour sessions as such. So
Mhm.
if all of us were interested, we can plan one session. Again, might not be right now. Whenever the next year, 2023, obviously, so we can plan some 3 to 4 hours of session of how the actual PA planning happens, how the actual coordination among the teams happen and everything. We can have a session from the scale agile perspective. The less and other frameworks, let me see if we can get anyone who can do a session of the hands-on, the implementation as such.
Yeah, I think that's another potential topic for a session actually. See, as a part of this Agile series, as I said, it's a continuous journey. Before our Agile conference, we have lined up around eight sessions. That's how we will conclude season one, or the series one. Then post conference, we'll again come up with the new set of speakers and new topics. And this is also a potentially a topic. PA planning, it's a big thing, and in scaled agile framework they will call it as a PA planning is heart of scaled agile framework. And you, if you are pretty much aware of the PA planning and if you know in and out of PA planning, you are almost there in the safe implementation. Yeah. Any more questions?
Can scale agile or agile framework be implemented in BPO operations? Uh, yes, BPO operations will be might not be having as a separate entity as such, right? So there, the scaling itself might not be required, to be frank, right? So when the scaling is required, when we need to have a lot of coordination among the teams from the implementation perspective, that's when the scaling comes into context, like as I showcased the Southwest Airlines, or the Porsche, and these solutions, when they're coming with a brand new solution, they have to collaborate among themselves, come up with what's working, what's not working, how they need to tweak, adjust their plans from the implementation perspective. That's where these things come up into context. But from the BPO operations perspective, it might be more like a known work, repeated work. Keep on, the teams might be working on. solving the issues, the production issues or the challenges coming up. So the BPO, the operations team, might be coming as a system team or a supporting tool to the actual implementation teams from the scaling perspective. Either any of the framework, again, Scale Agile or Less or Nexus or anything. So the BPO operations team might be coming in coordination with the actual implementation teams. They will be part of one of it, might not be the actual uh, scaling for only for the BPO operations.
Yes. I echo with Satish. And team from the various industries, we do have case studies on Scale Agile website, scaleagile.com insights and customer stories. We have wide range of industries covered there. You go there and spend some time to gain understanding how you are, which part of the companies from your industry, they are implementing the Scale Agile framework. As Satish said, scaled or safe cannot be implemented everywhere. Okay, that's what even discipline agile talks about. Okay, your context matters. Whatever your context,
Exactly.
depending upon the context, you need to apply scaling methodology. In fact, Scrum and Kanban also we cannot apply everywhere. Scrum is meant for certain reasons. Kanban is meant for certain reasons, and when you are working big enterprise and big solution, then obviously scaling is needed. That's when the scaling frameworks comes into picture, like safe, less, and discipline, agile, and others. Yeah, go to the site and gain some insights. Enterprise in level initiative scale, I guess. Yes. Yeah. Okay. Yeah, I think any more questions? We are good within the time.
Lakshmi Narayana has a question. Can we apply scale agile and less in construction? Yes. So that's why I use that Hyderabad Metro as an example, just to showcase. Of course, I'm not saying again Hyderabad Metro used a scale agile as a framework, but how if in case a construction company or the industry can be using the scaling frameworks of tweaking, adjusting their plans, and going ahead into the actual implementation. Yes, definitely. That's why the scaling frameworks has the case studies on the website itself, how we can just filter by the industry or the geographical location, and we will get to know how different industries or different companies use this implementation.
Yep. Yes. Yeah, that's why I was referring to the customer stories in the Scale Agile
Yes.
website. We have different wide variety of industries who have implemented the same. Okay. Yeah. And yeah, I think we have a hard stop to 11:30. Okay. Any major budgeting difference between portfolio versus large solution in safe? Yeah.
Yes, there is a major difference. The reason is when we say portfolio, we have multiple solutions within an organization, right? But when we say large solution, it is only one single solution. Like L&T might be having multiple solutions, but Hyderabad Metro is considered a separate entity altogether, right? So everything is coming under that L&T Hyderabad Metro. They created a separate entity, Hyderabad Metro Rail Industry or Limited, and they started working on it. They don't want to club everything under the L&T. So because they have their own reasons, logic behind it. So all the budget approved or reviewed for that Hyderabad Metro will be used only for that. There won't be swapping or switching the budget here and there. But within the portfolio, yes, it can be. So one portfolio, the budget might be reduced, the other portfolio, the budget might be increased. So Google or Alphabet, that's what they do. Each solution, they will be allowing the approving the budgets beginning of the year, and if required, they will be swapping the budgets here and there and adjusting accordingly. But that's not the case with the large solution because it is entirely called as a separate entity altogether. Manish, there are different softwares or tools available for the scaling solutions, whether it is again Safe, Less, Nexus, or anything as such. Like if you are using Jira as a software ALM tool, it is a very plain vanilla version. It won't be sufficient. We have Jira Align. Jira advanced roadmaps, or some additional softwares which help the tools which help the implementation, starting from the vision roadmap till the solutioning execution phase and everything. So I will share a couple of tools names. Again, not single solution or single software as such. There are multiple tools which helps especially from the PA planning perspective. Like we are coming up with the mural boards itself, or a simple Excel file is also can be used to do the PI planning coordination. But again, the end-to-end integration, there are very limited tools from the starting from the vision roadmap till the solutioning, reporting, and everything. I will share. Yes, Jira, Confluence, Atlassian. Atlassian is the mother company under which Jira, Confluence, Trello, all these are the smaller products or the solutions. Like how Google have like Gmail, Google Maps, YouTube, Google Meet, all these are different solutions. The same way Atlassian is the parent company under which Jira, Confluence, Trello, all these are the solutions.
Sure. Yeah. I think, yeah. Thank you, Satish, for taking time on Saturday morning and giving us the insights on Scaled Agile framework and less. I think it was very fluently explained, and I think hope everybody has got what just no cracks of safe. I think we cannot cover any entire thing in 1 hour, but just a small introduction, small brief about safe and less. Thank you very much for that, and hope we come back to you for another topic like we have identified maybe in next year, as you said. And thanks
Sure.
again. Thank you very much from PMA City chapter. Apart on behalf of the board, I would like to thank you, Satish, for your time.
Thanks everyone. Thanks everyone. Have a nice weekend.
Sure. And team, these are the upcoming tentative dates. Of course, 10th December you see as a TBD and TBD topic, but Agile transformation with case studies. Ravi Bhaskarani will be presenting. We will be sending up soon postings in the LinkedIn and Telegram. Please do register for the session. And for the entire December, this is how the tentative speakers and topic names, like Ashutosh, he'll be covering on gamification techniques, and our very own Manohar will be covering Lean, Kanban, and Scrumban, and Gokul Scrum framework. Okay, so as these are the upcoming PMP workshop from the chapter Jan 7th, 8, 21, 22, and in February 4, 5, 11, and 12th. And ACP workshop is on February 4, 5, 11, and Discipline Agile Senior Scrum Master workshop is on January 17 to 20. And we know that we will be crediting your PDU. It will be auto credited against your PMI ID. And yeah, any questions you can ping back to us in Telegram channel, or in the programs at the PMIPCC.org. Okay, thank you, team. Thank you for attending on Saturday, and see you next Saturday with the next topic. Have a good day. Bye.